Good weekend. Ira Epstein, and here we are with your financial market wrap-up. And today is September 11th, 2024 at 7 p.m. My wishes, everything goes out to families that lost people in the terrible terrorist attack. I remember exactly where I was 23 years ago. Lost a good friend of mine, in fact, somebody I did business with regularly. We traveled between Chicago and New York. And remember, I once had offices there, so it was a terrible event. Today we had the CPI numbers. I think that they came in. Here's what you have to understand. Overall inflation is falling. The rate of the decline is stalling, all right? You're still going up, but not by very much. You went up today a tenth, okay. We know that food and energy prices have been coming down. I've been honing in on online food costs, did it for you yesterday in videos that had terrible sound. This should be a lot better. We spent hours today trying to find out why the sound is bad. We found that one of the mics is bad. You would think it's simple, but mics go into cords go into power amps go back to the recording equipment. This is not a homemade studio. This is a professional studio, difficult to find. Now I got to buy a better one, but I've got one right here that seems to be just doing the job temporarily, and that'll be fine. We got quite a few of them, actually. So my take on it was this was not a weak enough CPI reading to make the Fed move. Therefore, I think the Fed will go 25 basis points next week. I know we get CPI tomorrow, and PPI rather. I'll talk about that in a minute. I'm sure you want to know my thoughts on the Trump-Harris debate, and I think that Ms. Harris won. VP Harris. I think she was more on track. I think she was better prepped. I think that she knew how to dodge questions better. She goaded the president. He bought in and went down the road he shouldn't have gone. All he should have stuck with are things that have worked, not keep talking how great things were under him, how great things are going to be under him. All right, for us. He's unfortunately caught in that thing. I did this, I can do that. I think we all want to see what can happen. Don't keep telling me you can end the Ukraine war. I think we're all looked at it and went like this. From the day you get elected, before you take office, it'll be over and you're going to solve the Israeli Hamas situation in Gaza. That isn't going to happen either so fast. And people don't shake in their boots about you, okay? So I hate to say that, but if he would say less and talk the policies, the people that love him, that's what they love about him. I don't think they care about the other parts, all right? She, of course, attacked him with the felon. He should have just gone in. So tell me the substance of what you're talking about. Tell me what you've accomplished. 3.5 years of immigrants just coming over, the biggest number, he said. But he didn't go into, why 6 months before this election did you finally decide to do it? Did you get enough people coming in? Now, he knows that illegal immigrants can't vote in federal elections. State could be different. Federal's a little different, but he's, I think, going down the wrong path with that. He could have gone into so many areas. He could go into, let's talk about your spending. Where's the deficit talk? Not one word on deficit. So enough of that. All right. Tomorrow, what we're going to get is the weekly jobless claims. The numbers, 225 that they're looking for, down about 2,000. The PPI is expected up 0.2%. Energy analysts are looking for the weekly EIA to have 50 billion cubic feet. At 11 o'clock, we get the USDA supply demand report. It's all about beans and corn, but corn will be the hot focus of the market. Bushels per acre will be it because the crops are made. Now they're just pulling in what they have. Got to get them in before winter comes. I know you don't want to hear that word, but it's true. And that's basically how this all plays out. You don't want too much rain. You want to be able to get the crops out, get everything set for next year. So what was today about in the market? If you were a subscriber of mine or if you're on a trial of my research, I said one thing, short covering day. On the break early in the morning, I thought that you had gotten to Bollinger Bands and key moving averages. No, I wasn't looking for a big turn at the end of the day, as it turned out. I was looking for short covering and traders to evacuate short positions, and I got what I wanted. If you're a believer in Bollinger Bands and haven't taken my course, consider it. If you move up here anytime there's an icon, it'll take you there. It's at iraepstein.com under courses, and we'll have an ad on it at the end of this. So when you take a look first, I think I have been one day after the other saying that this market's going to fight a battle. That's what my prediction was at the 18-week moving average of closes. This is a close-only chart on a weekly basis. I think that that is what's happened. Second, we know that we've had a market that's backed off. It's not falling out of bed. The near-term action today turned. You had a huge outside day to the upside. Do you know how to play outside days? Do you know the importance? Go to when you're on my website, go to the outside day course. Under courses, higher lows, higher highs. Battleground. In this case, it was the 100-day average. The market now on the rally up should have the resistance at the 18-day average. What did I tell you about Bollinger Bands? That this black line went right through here, kaboom. That with the 100-day average, and you combine it with an oversold condition, is where traders covered shorts. That doesn't mean you can't go through there again, but that typically stops the market on the first time that you hit that, especially the 100-day or a 200-day with that number. Very important. Does it work all the time? Nothing works all the time, but as a chartist, you're looking for the high probabilities. High probability is covering of shorts. I didn't say going long. The same identical thing in the NASDAQ. Now the resistance comes in at the 100-day average in the 18. You'd have to close and stay over the 18-day average of 19,338 to get me to say, the market's even now got an upside bias. To me, this is a bear market rally at this point in time. Bear because the bias is down since you've been under the 18-week average of closes, and bearish because September's often a weak month. In the Dow, tell me that the Bollinger Band didn't play out there. And I'm looking for that 18-day average to be the resistance. Now, in this market, if you don't get over 41,084, watch out. I think the pros are going to sell it at 41,045. You're not, let me come back there. You're not oversold. The trend is down. It's a bounce. And if they're wrong for $200, they'll call it a day and say, okay, I tried. If you take that number out, this wave down is also through. That doesn't mean you've started an up wave. You've ended that wave. It's not over yet. When I take a look at the Russell, you may not agree with me, but the combination of a 200-day average, a Bollinger Band, and the first place it fought the battle was at the 100. It slipped there. Well, that's been where it's been fighting, all right? There's plenty of reasons not to be short, including being oversold, but no reasons to be long. I think that's knowing what you want to do. In the 10-year and the 5-year notes, you are overbought, running at the upper Bollinger Bands in what we call the Gorilla Glue trade. If you'll notice, the other trades hit these bands and generally try to turn away. But when they latch on, you try to also make the slow stochastic embed. And on that, then the market is saying, well, what do I have? If you lose that reading like you did here, you got nothing. But often, it doesn't lose it right away, and you get more to play with. Right now, I have an overbought market that's not embedded. I'll let somebody else want to carry the day into probably next week when we get the Fed making a move, and I think it'll be 25 basis points. I feel the exact same way so far in the 5-year notes. The Gorilla Glue trade happens when every single day the Bollinger Band is hit. You don't stay over it, you're under it, you're over it, you're back and forth. It's pushing out, and what it's going to create in the end is a higher trading range. On the pullbacks, you won't typically break down as much as you did before. So we're getting that change in the market. In the dollar index tonight, you're up 14 points. Maybe you can get to the 18-day average. I see that the battleground's right here at 101.26. The trend is up. The bias is up. I don't see a spot to enter because where you want to enter is under the last low in the market. Nothing I see there. I've been saying that I thought that the euro might make a run, and on my subscriber videos, maybe to the lower band. It's already oversold. Doesn't have to do there. So at any point, I can get a spin around on the market the other way in both of these. In the British pound, bearish. We've had lower highs, lower lows. 4 days ago, the market closed for the first time under the 18-day average, making that the resistance point. The stops would have to be over this. The problem in being short is you're oversold, and the objective is right under you at 129.85. In Bitcoin, the market is oversold, getting a bounce. If it takes out this high right here, which is 58,280, that breaks the pattern of lower highs, lower lows. Now, that doesn't stop the resistance between the 200-day average at 60,076 and 5940, but it takes you out of the bear pattern. Don't take that out and head down again, and you might be into that 54,000 level again. On the energies, when you get bull news of OPEC saying they're not going to produce more, and you get a Category 2 storm that has shut down the Gulf of Mexico, many of the rigs, about half of them, some refineries, it's making landfall as I'm putting this out as a Category 2 storm, and you can't rally. Well, that's your bull news. Where are you going? You're embedded. I think the pros are still selling this market short. The same thing goes for me in the WTI. Get the red number to close over 21. It's a momentum trade, not a price trade. And I will tell you, now I think the pros are coming out. Heating oil, the same thing. On rallies, I think the pros are still selling. Not a keen fan of selling this too much cheaper. We are going to get into cooler weather with demand sooner rather than later. Not there yet. Gasoline might be the market that's more vulnerable. And as you know, I've been calling and saying I wouldn't be surprised we get a rally in the nat gas, but I think it'll be short-lived. I look for the market to have resistance. And then as we get into October, start the rollover. This is not the time frame for that rollover just yet. You put it all together, you try to come up with game plans, and that's what we do. Remember this data tomorrow? Take a look at this ad that is going to run right after this at this point in time, and you'll learn a little bit about Bollinger Bands and how to use momentum with them. I'm Ira Epstein. You have yourself a great evening.